A protective order or restraining order is made of paper designed to allow law enforcement to arrest anyone in violation of that order. What it is not is a guarantee of safety. Stop the Threat starts now. Hello and welcome to Stop the Threat. My name is James Towle. On this week's episode, we take you to the Sooner State of Oklahoma, where a court order has been issued in a domestic violence case. We simply call this one Protective Order. But let me introduce you to this week's panel. Jeffrey Phipps. Jeffrey is a fire captain, and Jeffrey is also an NRA certified pistol instructor in North Charleston, South Carolina, and brings to the show his experience as a 911 supervisor. Mike Hurd. Mike is a firearms instructor and writes for a number of gun-related magazines. He also finds time to publish his own, which I have the pleasure of reading. And lastly, his son is a police officer with the Abilene Police Department. Jorge DeLeon. Jorge, in 2001, began his career in the U.S. Army and was wounded in 2004. He then moved to San Antonio, Texas, where he is now a CHL NRA certified instructor. Welcome all.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Let's talk about the difference between protective order and restraining order. I think that's confusing for a lot of the folks out there. And Mike, I'm going to let you start with this.
A restraining order is a little bit weaker than a protective order. It's something that the court will issue to keep somebody away from the aggrieved party, usually a woman, to keep the estranged husband away till they finish divorce proceedings. Protective orders are much stronger than that. A police officer can directly arrest on a protective order. There's been a dangerous situation happened, and they want to legally keep this guy away, and it's a stronger order. It can be arrested on, and sometimes it doesn't really help because the guy will come back and kill her anyway, but it is a stronger thing than a restraining order.
Okay, so a protective order is stronger than a restraining order. Is that right, Jorge?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, see, I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like Mike saying, the protective order have more power, and it requires an arrest immediately right there if it's violated. But in my point of view, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that either or, they're just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
People need to be ready and think ahead that piece of paper is not going to save your life, it's not going to protect you.
Okay, yeah, very good. Unfortunately, the fire department doesn't deal with this much.
The only protective orders we deal with are emergency protective orders where we need to have the police take a patient or someone into custody so we can treat them because they're not in their right mind.
But as a 911 operator, you might get a call from someone.
We could very well.
And is it important for you to know that there was a protection order or a restraining order?
Really, the person with the order, the victim, can tell us on 911 that there is a order of protection or a protective order out there. But really what we need to know is the who, what, when, where, and why of what's going on.
Okay, you're law enforcement coming. Do you care whether it's protection or restraining?
I do care, and those protective orders will be on file down at the dispatch wherever you work at. So the officer will be able to verify that in the field very quickly. And it makes a lot of difference. It also gives you an insight into the mindset of the guy that's violating.
Right, and I think that's the important part that we want to point out.
It is a big difference, and it is a big deal.
So as a responding officer, you want to know which of those two.
Oh, yeah.
You want to know as many details as you can.
Okay, when we come back, I'm going to show you part one. Don't go away. Welcome back, viewers. I'm going to take you right to part one of Protective Order. I think we're going to all learn something from this, so let's watch.
Who you call? Put the damn phone down!
I'm calling the police. You better not still be here when they get here.
Oh, damn it, you ain't gonna do that!
Hello? My boyfriend just hit my daughter. I need you to send someone. Yes, he's still here. You have 5 minutes to get your stuff.
Damn her.
Okay, this is actually going to lead to some trouble, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're walking right in here. I think a domestic violence case, and everyone can agree on this, there's nothing there but trouble. I mean, very rarely are you going to respond to some happy situation, otherwise they wouldn't be calling you.
Yeah.
So would you consider that to be one of your more dangerous calls, Mike?
I sure would. Most of these guys are becoming enraged, just like we saw on the film. They're usually on alcohol or drugs, which really potentiates what they're doing. They have murder in their hearts when they go in there.
Right.
And anybody that gets in the way, police officer, civilian, or especially her, look out.
Yeah, this is a psychological thing. I mean, marriage, you know, I mean, you got kids involved. Something is going wrong here. I can see all the tension building up in any individual, whether it's the male or the female, depending on what it happens to be. But there's going to be a lot of drama, to use that word, surrounding this protective order. And Jorge?
Yeah, I totally agree with Mike. Domestic violence, one of the most dangerous calls that any police officer can get. You know, when you go there, you don't know in what the emotions that the person is at, what problems were there. You're just gonna go blind to a very stressful situation already. So it's very, very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and I think leading back to what you said, the drugs and the alcohol may be as a result of this, not necessarily, I mean, he could be drinking and working up his courage and taking drugs to go in and settle the situation, if I can use those words.
If I can't have them, nobody's going to have them.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. Right.
That's right. I've heard it more than once.
He definitely looks unstable. The thing I notice about the video, there's no warning devices on the door. There's no, she didn't change the locks. He was able to force the door open very easily. There's no dead bolt, or if it is, it's not bolted. So the house isn't secure, and that falls back on the person who asked for the order of protection. If you're going to ask for help, help yourself. Change the locks. Go to the dollar store and get the
simple alarm system.
Simple alarm systems that make noise when the door opens and set them.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because if anything here, the number of domestic violence cases is huge.
Yeah.
That's right.
And if you're not doing something to protect yourself and children possibly, then you're probably looking for some problems here. Having responded to domestic violence cases, and children are involved possibly. I mean, this is a messy, messy situation. Does anybody get away with this? I mean, does anybody walk away clean from a domestic violence case?
Actually, domestic violence, everybody gets hurt in some way.
Right.
Either arresting or getting hit, or emotionally, kids, fathers, everybody gets
And damage forever.
Yeah.
If there's any children involved. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
The way you presented it there, it's almost as if we were blaming the victim, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. We don't want to blame her.
Sure.
We want to give ideas to where she can, give more warning that somebody's in the house that shouldn't be there. Because they're sleeping soundly in their beds, and this guy's in the living room already, and nobody knows.
Well, I think you brought out a good point, that she's not doing anything to enhance her safety. So when the 911 call happens, the information is probably going to be, I don't know, the information's never good, right? You don't get the call from a domestic violence case if it was a happy thing, right?
Sometimes you don't even get the details. Sometimes the 911 operator hears something, and that's what it relates to the patrol officer, you know. I got a 911 call from here. I heard a woman screaming, and suddenly a loud bang, and the line went off.
Right.
So I need you to.
So you
don't know what you're
a
going to
strategy.
Department that I came from, on a domestic violence, it's an instant backup call is made. No
Yeah,
matter if
okay.
the officers are asleep, small town stuff, you know, or your backup officer may be at home asleep, but he is immediately called as a backup. It's considered that dangerous.
Okay, I believe that.
Fire and EMS are going to stage and wait for the cops.
That's correct.
Yeah, right. When we come back, we're actually going to give you some tips on how you can better prepare for this if you happen to be the one who issued that order. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, viewers. The protective order, the domestic violence case, we centered a little bit on what law enforcement's reaction is going to be, just so that you know when they do arrive, they're going to have a quasi-plan and order, but they're not giving a lot of information. But let's not center on law enforcement. They have their job. Let's center on what the lady, or in this particular case, the person who had the protective order issued, she's in her home. And I think Jeff pointed out rightly that the locks haven't been changed. There hasn't been any reinforcement on the doors. What else could she have done? Maybe a very inexpensive alarm system? How about having your brother-in-law stay over or something? I mean, isn't there some other things that you could do here?
Having another man stay in the house, you bring a whole other element to the.
Okay, that could go either way, couldn't it?
But if you have somebody there, you know, you can have your sister there, you can have somebody come stay with you, have an advocate from the victim's advocate
okay.
from the police department or from the district attorney's office, assign somebody there. If he's
that possible?
if he's this dangerous, somebody in the system knows about him. If he's bad enough that they issued a protective order, somebody in the system, there should be a plan there.
Okay. All right. I don't know that there's someone who
don't
does
either.
that. Do you know that?
No, I don't, but I'm saying, just going back to what you say about bringing another man with your advice, bringing a brother-in-law, something like that, I would agree more with that, you know. It might endanger the situation, and the point of view that you're saying, it might be positive, but, you know, it's my safety, so I don't care if it's going to endanger or not. I'd rather be safe.
Yeah, the other side of the coin is he may know both parties.
Exactly.
And maybe he's the neutral factor.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he can calm things down. Well, let's find out. Let's watch part
Potential's there.
2.
What are you doing here?
What is this?
I had to.
No, you didn't. What is this? Huh? You didn't have to call a cop. Why did you call a cop? Why did you? Shut up! Shut up! You hear me? Shut up! Why did you call a cop? Huh? Shut up! Shut up! I said, shut up! You heard me? What did you call a cop for? What was that all about? Huh? Why do you have to call a friggin' cop? Huh?
Mom!
Okay, I think everyone is going to be surprised by this that is watching. I know I was. Jorge, did they have a plan?
They did have a plan. My understanding is not exactly for this situation, but they did have a plan. Something happens to me, you know where to look, you know, tell the daughter, you know where to look for the gun. Definitely she have been practicing or training with some kind of instructor. There was a plan.
Okay, I'm just going to go a little further out on the limb here, Mike, and ask you. She seemed young.
Yeah, she seemed,
You know, this is really a traumatic thing that's taking place in her life. Someone that young who is firing and hitting an adult, even though he's attacking mom. I mean, I got that point. But isn't this, I mean, at what point do you say, you're at this age and I'm going to take you out and I'm going to train you with a gun in case anything goes wrong? I mean, is it just me or?
it depends on how serious the family is. I'm a little different, but my son shot his first machine gun when he was 3 years old. Okay, So it depends
Yeah,
on
you're
how
a little different.
I'm a little different, but yeah, it depends on how different the family is.
Yeah.
The kid could have been a natural. Who knows? She may not have fired a gun in her life, but she just could be a natural.
She could be a
We don't
budding
know.
3-gun star.
Oh, well, I'm just saying that all I can think of when I see that is that young girl is going to live with that the rest of her life. And that's probably not something that we need to dwell upon. It's just that's my first reaction, and I empathize with her a lot, and I sympathize with the situation. I do believe that since they did not decide to have someone in the home to protect them, that they have now chosen to place the gun in a neutral position so that each of them could get to it if the need arrives.
Right.
And she did. Anybody got a problem with that?
Not at all.
Anybody have a problem with the fact she took the gun out and she shot him?
I don't have a problem with her taking the gun out and shooting him. I'm still kind of on the fence about a better security plan to go with the defense plan, And was somebody going to call 911 anytime today?
Yes. And I am going to address that 911 when we come back from commercial, because I think this 911 in here, there's a time to call 911 and there's a time for action. If she had stumbled and gone to 911, what might have happened?
Mom might be dead. So she has
Mom's
to leave
still
also. Well, we don't know if he died or not, but we have to assume, right, that she's not dead and that she have to live with that too.
When we come back, Jorge's going to pick that up. Don't go away. We're right in the middle of something you don't want to miss. Thanks for coming back, viewers. We left you on that 911 call, and when do you do it, and when do you act, and when do you spend time on the phone? And I think we concluded that had she gone right to the 911 call, Mom might have been severely wounded, maybe even dead. And now the daughter is there, and we don't know what would have happened. So
I don't mean don't protect your mother when she's being attacked by a crazy man with a knife, but somebody needs to get on 911 as quickly as they can after the shooting stops. And there's just not enough information available from this little snippet to be able to speak to it any better than that.
Okay.
At least not in my mind.
But you did bring up a good point. I guess if you're going to commit to shooting, was 2 rounds enough?
He was still moving and he was still walking around. That kind of gave me a little bit of pause, because he still could have prosecuted an attack. So personally, I think she should have kept on shooting until he was not a threat anymore.
Yeah.
He was a threat still.
Right. And again, I think that's probably very difficult to get into the mind of someone that age. Geez, imagine discussing this. This is a difficult situation. If anything happens to me, and I don't remember what the young lady's name was, but let's call her Jane. If anything happens to me, Jane, go in the drawer and shoot the person. Can you imagine the conversation, the dialogue between them?
We see examples every day of children 10 and under doing extraordinary things to save an adult's life. So it's not unusual to see a preteen that would take out a gun and shoot somebody that's attacking mom. But there are going to be psychological ramifications of what just happened, regardless of the outcome, whether he dies or lives, whether mom was seriously injured or just scared to death. She still pulled out a gun and she still fired on somebody.
Okay,
she has to live with that.
Considering that someone of that age, how do you train for that?
First of all, you have to talk. You cannot keep guns or weapons a mystery with the family, especially with
I
children.
like that.
You can't. They will look for it, they will see, and they will try to do what they see on TV. And what you see on TV, most of the times is wrong, and movies and stuff like that. So be responsible, and you teach safety with firearms with kids. And from then you start, and it's hard. I've done it with my kids, but it's something that it has to be done. With the times that we're living these days.
Was there anything that went wrong here, and we've only got a few seconds left? Was there anything you saw that was wrong that took place? Maybe she didn't pull the trigger often enough. Okay, we'll
Maybe that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think
I will
it was
shoot
everything
until
else
the
you did
threat
wrong.
stops.
The preventative.
Yeah, the
preventative
preventative.
actions.
Yeah.
Okay, having someone else in the home, you mean?
Or
Having better locks
upgrading
on?
the locks.
Better
and
locks, alarm
security.
system, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What else can we leave the viewers with? And then I think I would leave you with this. If this were the situation that you found yourself in and you knew that there was a unstable personality out there, I would do everything I could to protect myself and my child, no matter what it cost, no matter what I had to do. And in a coming up show, we'll discuss that more, but I gotta go. See you again next week. Be safe, be trained, be alert.